fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask, grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Q's show here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Izuku and Melissa. Now, Midoriya, his curse has been broken, and he is free of Excalibur. Now, right now, Izuku Midoriya is trying to make a plan to take out Tomura Shigaraki while he is still weakened. Now, the plan was quite simple. They call him out again, use the same tactic, and expect the same results. However, you do have where Midoriya, he mentioned this in a room full of pro heroes, where it did not go unprovoked. You had Mirako, the number 5 hero, who she immediately fought against Midoriya, telling him this is bullshit, it won't work, and how they need to actually strategize, instead of going forwards with this way of thinking. The guy has a sword that broke, a sword they've so far have seen to be indestructible. And they've basically crippled the Sword Maiden and took away her power. At least that's how she does perceive it. Not knowing about magic or one for all. And Midoriya, he wants to try the same tactic over and over again against a guy proven to be able to kill all of them with a simple touch of a finger. Now, they really have no faith in Midoriya. However, the way this guy talks, it's somehow calming. He has absolute faith in his plans, and he has strength behind him to back him. Now, whenever we did have Midoriya, he was about to face off against Mirako in a one-on-one. And the two did seem to be quite similar in some regards. Now, Mirako, she would stand up and directly get in front of Midoriya, telling him that he is quite a bold man, especially for a quirkless one. I see. You are a fierce warrior. Interesting. Most men call me a fierce woman. I do not see that. There is nothing womanly about you. Wow, you're the first guy to ever tell me that. It is an honor then. So, shall we face off against one another? Midoriya does say. Melissa watching Midoriya closely, as she does begin to see heroic spirit pour out of him. Midoriya is being consumed by invisible flames to everyone else. However, to Melissa, these crimson colors, or these, well, shades of blue, they almost look black and purple. It's insane. Exactly how much power is seeping out of Midoriya. Now, Midoriya, he does raise up his hand and go to bring it up, as you have, well, Ryuko, the dragon hero, stand on her feet and go to walk over and break it up. However, you have Mirako who does walk over to shake Midoriya's hand. The moment Ryuko is directly in front of both of them and is about to go to push both of them away from each other as she does go to transform, Midoriya, he does squeeze down her hand, Mirako looking down quickly and beginning to squeeze harder herself. Now, everyone is watching these two, as they are testing each other with grip strength. Mirako, the hero woman known for her biceps and intense training workout routines. She is having a battle against a man no one has ever seen before. And just from the sheer force alone these two are putting into their fist, a lot of people can tell Mirako is breaking a sweat. And she's gritting her teeth. While Midoriya, he does just stand there calm and collective. Now, you have Ryuko, who does take notice to both of these two's expressions. To her right, she has her hand directly on Midoriya's chest, and she was about to push both. Midoriya's heart rate is calm and slow, and the look on his face, well, it's plain. He has that look on his face that shows he's determined, and that look in his eyes. There's not a single ounce of resistance in what he's doing, not even from his own self. And then there's whenever she does look at Mirako, her friend, who, just from putting her hand on her body, she can already tell that she's breaking a sweat and heating up a lot. Along with that, her heart rate is beginning to skyrocket. As Midoriya, yeah, he does just keep squeezing, asking her if that's enough, or if she can even really keep up. They haven't even started fighting yet, and already she's her actually going to look up at Midoriya in the eye and say that she can't deny it. He's strong. Before she does, spring up her other hand and say that she'll go along with his crazy schemes. Now, this is quite interesting. As Midoriya, he does let go of her hand and she does immediately bring it up to shake it, talking about how she felt a few of the bones in her hand actually begin to crack. Interesting. Last man I tried that on fell to his knees. Yet you remain standing. Well, quite the grip you got there, Corkless. Your name. My name. How polite. My name is Izuku Midoriya. It is a pleasure to meet you. Or he would just say his name is Izuku. Now, this is quite strange, as you do have Midoriya who does then turn to Ryuko. And he does stare directly at this woman. She does seem to be quite strange. And Midoriya, he does bring up his hand to shake hers. Her looking down at Midoriya's before looking back up at him. Do not worry, I will not do that trick to you. Trick? So there was something involved. No, trick isn't the right word. You see, your friend here is quite tenacious, and in fact she's quite fearsome. Where I'm from, she would be quite the worthy foe. And in fact, it would take armies to take her down. Where you're from? Ryuko does say, her bringing up her hand and going to shake Midoriya's. The moment Midoriya he does take her hand, he can tell that her hands are soft. And in fact, they're somewhat at least show proof that she does fight. Now, Midoriya, instead of actually going to shake her hand normally, he does actually bring her palm up flat. And he does go to kiss her hand. This is actually quite surprising her. As Midoriya, he does go to stand back up onto his feet and said it is a pleasure to meet her. Now, after this does happen, you have where Ryuko, she does just stare at Midoriya, surprised. She just met this man and already he seems to be quite strange. Why did you... Your friend? Obvious. Collateral damage, waste of time, and not in my best interest. We're on the same side. Fighting her is pointless. That's quite tactful. Well, you gotta think of this as war. It's all quite tactful. Every move you make needs to be calculated and precise. Along with that, you cannot afford to have flaws. The previous plan was meant to fail. However, to the degree it did, yes, that is bad. It's where we uncoordinated and uncalculated. And that is why Midoriya is spinning around and walking back to the front of the table. As he does say, they already know their opponent is down by one hand. So, what he intended to inform them all of before they were interrupted is yes, they are going with the same strategy, and yes, they are going with the same ideas. However, they are going to try and approach it just slightly different. Think of this as we're doing this the first time, and only that. Now, everyone is staring at Midoriya. As Midoriya, he does ask Professor or Mr. Snipe to please come up here. Now, Snipe does stand up, walk over to the front of the table by Midoriya, as Midoriya does ask him to please present the weapon he used last night. Him doing so. As Midoriya, he does see the firearm that Snipe used to shoot Shigaraki in the shoulder. Interesting. Now, exactly how large are these projectiles? Snipe looking at Midoriya confused for not calling it a bullet. However, he does just reach into his pocket and grab a bullet out and pull it out to show Midoriya. Midoriya taking it in his hand as he does look it over. And to him, he's trying to set it up in his head. How everything needs to go to be precise. And what they can do to stop Shigaraki. Now, with all that, we do then have where Midoriya, he does set this bullet down, and then he does spin around. As he does begin to draw something. Now, Midoriya is fascinated by these small little markers he is using. However, yeah, not the time. Midoriya quickly drawing up something. As he does then step out of the way, and everyone does look at Midoriya's drawing that looks a little bit crude. Now, everyone's surprised by it. Midoriya talking about how this is the setup they are going for. Him then drawing a line on the board as he does then mark an X down. Talking about how this is where Snipe needs to be, and then this is where the shot needs to line up. Fascinating. So that was your plan the whole time. Maybe I underestimated you. Mirko does say. As we do have Ryuko, who does talk about how this is a sound strategy, actually. But my question is, how do you know when to take the shot? Easy. It should be around this point where he'll have his guard down. He'll think he's won. It's the way everyone thinks in this situation. Trust me, Midoriya looking down. Talking about how he's seen it before. Excuse me, the samurai hero does say. Him, then, going to stand up. And saying that it does seem that Midoriya is a warrior, yes? That is true, yes. I'm a swordsman myself. A swordsman. That's fascinating. And exactly who are you? Now, the sword hero would introduce himself, saying his name and talking about how he's been in this game for far too long. And in fact, he was called here today under suspicion that he was the villain, since this was a matter concerning swordsmen. I see. And it is on your honor as a swordsman that you showed up here today, is it? Quite perspective. Yes, it is. I could not let swordsmanship go down as villain. I could not let a villain who wields a sword go down in history. Especially for them spilling hero blood. A blade is a blade. It is a weapon and a tool. Yes, those words are quite true, mister. Now, Midoriya talks about how these crude weapons he's using, however, they are not just that. As Melissa, she does try to take over and basically try to hide Midoriya's explanation of magic existing. Now, everyone does head out, since Melissa does talk about how this is all they had to discuss, and they'll further get plans together and sent out to their agencies, as everyone does go to leave. Now, as that does happen, you do then have the old swordsman who would go to walk over to Midoriya as he does reach down towards his hip. Him undoing his own weapon before bringing it up and handing it out to Midoriya. Now, this is quite interesting. Midoriya looking at the blade before looking back up to the samurai. What is this? A gift. This old geezer has many of these. Personally, however, this is a very unique blade myself. Or itself. So, well, yeah. Parting with it is something I'm not really too bad about. The uniqueness of this blade is quite simple. Now, the samurai would talk about how the blade itself is stronger than steel, and in fact, it's quite interesting. Now, he would then spin around and go to walk away, talking about how he has a replica at home. Now, Roy is quite interested, since this is his first time holding and actually being able to inspect a katana. Fascinating. Roy is going to grab the blade and actually pull it out of the sheath, as he does see the strange metal it's made out of. Now, the blade is made of tungsten, and Midoriya finds its unique, well, look somewhat fascinating. Now, Midoriya, he does accept this gift, as he does put the weapon back in the sheath and go to set it down on the table carefully. Now, with that being said, after everyone has cleared out and things have somewhat settled, you have Midoriya and Melissa who are left there in the room, and they are currently about to have a conversation. So, you're saying that we need to go back to your homeland? Yes. I do not expect you to understand, but the damage caused to the blade, it cannot be repaired. The blade itself is going to have to be broken away from the actual guard and even the handle. Then, once that has happened, it will be re-equipped onto a new weapon. Is that how it happens? Yes. Fixing a broken blade. It's manageable. However, it's a sign of bad luck in other cultures. The elves think that once a weapon breaks, it just means that the blade is not meant to take a life anymore. And, well, that is true. I like that saying. That saying is quite unique, and the fact that they believe it, it's, well, something, really. Is it a true thing, though? I have that thought very many times. A blade I used to wield once broke, and then Excalibur came along. I fought with it. I believed I've broken the blade, but it merely was a spell. Then I lost the blade itself entirely. Someone swapped it. And, well, I was using an imposter and it broke. Then I picked up Claret. Then I found Excalibur. I believe it is those sins. The ones from Excalibur were the false sword I used that carried on. And it was my need for that weapon that could not break. Because if it ever broke, I would not justify being able to take a life again. Hmm? That's quite the statement, Arthur. Do not call me Arthur. That name does not suit me anymore. Izuku is fine. It's a rather strange name, but I like it. Surprised you did. I didn't really have a lot of room to work with. Ah, that is true. Now, that being where Tamaki, he does walk into the room. But we are going to stand up and talk about how he is going to explore this world a bit more. And he might just go try to find someone that he can talk with. Hmm? That makes no sense. Are you seeking companionship? Hmm. Maybe it might be a bit crude to you, but whenever you get to be as old as I am, you'll understand one day. However, I would not let an opportunity pass, young Melissa. Now, Melissa, she does look kind of surprised. As Tamaki, he does watch Izuku leave. Now, this is where Tamaki, he does finally, at least think, that this might be a good time. So, Melissa, you stuttered. Yeah, sorry. I'm kind of nervous, you know? Nervous? About what? Well, we're facing off against him again tonight, right? That doomsday madman? Hmm. Yeah, we are. However, I'm not too sure if we should. Hmm? Really? Yeah. He is someone who I've never really faced off against before. The type of person who I don't think should really be allowed to live. Every time I drew Excalibur, I drew it with the intent to save life, not take it. It makes sense, but that's kinda not why I'm here, though. Hmm? What are you talking about? Listen, I've had something I've been wanting to talk to you about. Hmm? What is it, Tamaki? Are you nervous? About tonight? Yeah, that's something about it. But you should know. Tonight we're facing off against that madman. And tonight we're probably going to get hurt. And if I do assume the worst, then, well, we might die. All of us might die. And that's a scary thought, you know? Yeah, I know. However, there's Izuku. He's calm and collected. He's planning things out every second in his head. The guy makes no sense to me at all. Yet somehow I have a respect for him I've never had for myself. Maybe it's because he was always in that blade you carry. Yeah, that blade. The one that I'll never get back. Hmm? Now, Melissa does begin to somewhat get a little teary-eyed. As you do have Tamaki, who, he does look at Melissa. And he does try to compose himself. Him saying the words, Melissa, she didn't expect to ever hear. Even without that blade, you're still incredible. Hmm? What did you just... Listen, Melissa. I've known you for years. That blade? It isn't what helped make you special. Sure, it gave you power, some you didn't know about, but you're not powerless, remember? You have one for all. You have a power gifted you by generations, and you had the power of a mystical magic weapon. So, if you don't call that fate, I don't know what you would call it. Two unlikely coincidences happened to you within one lifetime. Listen, it's something interesting. It's not just that, but it's you as a person. Even at my lowest point, my lowest points back in UA, you, Mirio, all of you, you've helped to bring me up and shine. Just when I thought there was only one sun in the sky, I look and gaze upon another. It's so great. Now, Melissa, she does walk up and directly stand in front of Tamaki, asking him if he truly can say that. Yeah. And that's why I don't want to die without regrets if I do. Now, Tamaki would bring his hand up. Melissa, noticing that it does slightly shake. Her grabbing Tamaki by his hand with her other one. And she does actually go to kiss him. Now, as that does happen, we do cut to outside that door. Or, roughly, let's just say, at the end of the room, where these two aren't paying attention. Mirio and Nejire. Both of these two have made a bet as to what would happen. And Mirio, yeah, he just won about, let's just say, $100. Now, he does pop back through the other side of the wall and turn to Nejire, telling her he won. I don't believe you. Well, it's true. I know Tamaki. And, well, it seems like he's finally getting over it. Getting over what? He just confessed to Melissa. No way. Yes, and the two are currently kissing. So let's give them some time. Now, as that does happen, we do have Izuku, who he's currently sitting out front. And he's trying to think about different things. As he's trying to unlock the old smartphone Melissa did have, that she did give to him. Now, all Midoriya really needed to do was get a brand new SIM card and all that extra stuff. And voila, he has a phone. Midoriya confusingly trying to find out how to close tabs and go towards the internet, since he did want to look something up. As Midoriya does struggle with a smartphone, which I would find hilarious, you do have Ryuko the Dragon Hero, who she does walk up and see him. Midoriya cursing the heavens in a very fancy way that this blasted device is impossible to use and actually properly have access to. Now, you do actually have where she does ask him exactly what he's trying to do, and she does sit down to help him. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing night. Catch you guys in the next part.